Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle. I'm riding solo tonight. Mr. Mike has the night off. Well, the Royals didn't work. Royals did not work. I stacked the Royals everywhere, and that prevented me from having a profitable night. That was my number one stack of the day. Texas gave me a chance. I stacked Baltimore and Express. Talked about those two. Odor, Mazzara. They did well. Baltimore, if you had Machado, looked good there. Hold on 1 second. All right. Yeah, so Royals didn't do well for me. Texas and Baltimore, like I said, gave me a chance, but didn't work. Sean Manaea was the pitcher I paired everywhere with Max Scherzer, and that also didn't work. I had faith in Manaea, but no, didn't work. Let's put it that way. Didn't work. So, yeah, that's how my night went. But we're back tomorrow. We got a 7 game early, and a 8-game main. So, already been diving back into it. Ready to go tomorrow. I think I see where I want to go already. So, let's go. We got Milwaukee and New York. Luis Severino on the hill. Been fantastic at home this year. Obviously, a little bit of why would I stack the Royals? The Royals have been the hottest team over the last 7 days. In fact, have hit 15 home runs in the last 7 days. Most of any team in the league. So that is why I stacked the Royals. Mike Moustakas has more home runs than anybody in the last week. Eric Hosmer has been hitting the ball well. Whit Merrifield has been hitting the ball fantastic. And then Alcides Escobar has been hitting the ball well too. They just didn't show up tonight. But if you look at all the recent stats, those guys passed the test. And, yeah, win some, you lose some, man. So, we got Brent Suter making his second start. Obviously, we know what he did to the Orioles. Absolutely stymied them. And then Luis Severino pitches well at home. Definitely looking at Severino, but this game does have some rain concern from what I see early on. So that could be cause for concern. I'd imagine he's the chalk pitcher on the early, as he typically is when he's the highest priced or second highest priced pitcher. Just for his upside alone, you pair that with the fact that the Brewers are a K-happy team. But if you buy into splits, they strike out the least of any situation away versus righties, which is this one right here. So if you want to buy into that, can put you off Severino a little bit. Derek says, the Royals were good against my Mariners, but who isn't? Well, that's part of the thing, man. If you can hit in Safeco and smack home runs out of there, you got a good team. They've been killing the road trip. They were fighting for first place before the All-Star break. So, it was a contrarian stack. Had it gone off, it was low owned. All these guys were under 2% owned in the main. So, I'm looking at Eric Thames tomorrow against Severino already. I'm looking at Stephen Vogt, who has been swinging a hot bat since he came over to Milwaukee. I think the Brewers are a stackable offense tomorrow. I myself will be fading Severino, and I'm seriously considering looking at Brent Suter. I know the Yankees can kill lefties, especially at home. They're a much better team at home. But he's the cheapest pitcher on the entire slate for DraftKings, and so that is intriguing. We know he's got some K upside. It is versus the Orioles, but he's been decent in his minor league career. And I mean, the Yankees are still half a minor league team right now, so Judge will scare me. Sanchez is a little scary. Didi does hit lefties, at least average-wise, better than righties. So, I mean, there's definitely some guys on this lineup that can kill you. But if you want to get some of the higher stacks, Suter is a play that's interesting. So I'm looking there. Houston and Toronto, probably one of my favorite pitchers on this early slate is going to be Mike Fiers, actually. He has really, really, really turned his season around. We were talking about stacking against this guy every single time he pitched. I think in his first 7 games, he gave up 15 home runs. He has not given up any in his last couple starts. He has under 200 average against him and a 34% strikeout rate. The Blue Jays are not exactly the hottest team in the world right now. So definitely looking at some Mike Fiers tomorrow for cheap too. He's 7,500 on DraftKings. That is a very fair price for what he can do. I don't know that he exactly goes out and destroys Toronto in terms of striking them out. You know, that 34% K rate. I don't know if that's sustainable, but for 7.5, that's doable, especially on this slate. And then I'm gonna attack Marcus Stroman. I don't think it'll be the most popular stack tomorrow with Houston. I do know they're hot, so they'll get ownership. I know that much, but I don't think that people will absolutely jump to stack against Stroman, who is a ground ball pitcher. But Houston's away splits this year, they are just miles ahead of where they are at home versus where they are on the road. They hit a ton more fly balls, a ton harder contact. Their WOB is higher, their ISO is higher. Every advanced statistic points to them being a better away team. This is a great ballpark to hit in. So definitely looking there. If Yuli's back in the lineup, I'm definitely looking at stacking him with Marisnik if they play. That is a very cheap stack. Alex Bregman's still 3,700. And then George Springer, I was very upset I didn't play him today. I was a day early on him. He was in every single one of my lineups the day before. Of course, didn't play him today, and he goes off. So I'm going to try that again and see. And like I said, not going to be stacking Toronto. Not against Mike Fiers. Not where I'm going. Yeah, I'm with you, Derek. Wraparound stacks, man. That helps win GPPs, that's for sure. Baltimore and Minnesota. Adalberto Mejia has been pitching fantastic as of late. Saving his spot in the rotation at that. So over his last 14 days, he has an ERA of, let me find it real quick. I had it pulled up. He has an ERA of 1.53, a hard contact rate of 28%, and a fly ball rate of 31.58%. So absolutely pitching great by any standard, especially his, from where he was earlier in the season. Now, Baltimore is waking up a little bit, but they struggle the most. Their worst split is away versus lefties. So I think you have to consider Mejia tomorrow. Just from the standpoint of price and matchup. Now, Baltimore is an intriguing stack from the standpoint of they are heating up. You know, they've had 2 good games in a row. Manny Machado, 2 home runs today. Seth Smith hit a home run. He might not play tomorrow. You'll probably see Joey Rickard leading off, but that could change. Jonathan Scope has just been the best Oriole this year. And then Trey Mancini, he's better versus righties, but respectable versus lefties. So there is some concern. Mejia does not come without risk, but for his price, he's got to be in consideration. And then the Twins, man. The Twins cannot hit lefties. They are better at home versus them, but as a team, they don't hit lefties well. There's about 3 guys on the team that can absolutely crush them, and that's Dozier, Eduardo Escobar, and Miguel Sano. Robbie Grossman is decent versus them. Other than that, these batters' ISOs are all sub 100 versus lefties. Chris Gimenez probably plays tomorrow. He provides a little bit of power versus lefties. He hits them well, their backup catcher. But again, as a team, not the best versus lefties. I still don't think I play Wade Miley, but the Twins are not a team I'm going to stack tomorrow. Atlanta, Washington, Julio Teheran, and Steven Strasburg. Strasburg has been pitching well all year, especially over his last couple starts. The one thing he has been doing is giving up a little more fly balls than I would like at 50% fly ball rate. Freddie Freeman has fantastic history off Steven Strasburg. Oh, excuse me. Fantastic history. 4 home runs in his career off Strasburg already. Hit one off Max today. So Freeman deserves a look. He's still cheap, $3,700 and $32 on FanDuel. So definitely worth a look. Matt Adams, we know the power he has. And it's not like Steven Strasburg is exactly home run immune. He can give up a home run or two. So, but it does come with some strikeouts. Strasburg is the other guy that I think will get the ownership tomorrow. Him and Luis Severino. And I find myself fading both of them. And because I think that Strasburg gets ownership tomorrow, or Severino, I think Houston goes lower owned, and the higher price bats go lower owned. And it's also worth noting, on the other side here, Bryce Harper absolutely owns Teheran. So Freddie Freeman owns Strasburg. Bryce Harper owns Julio Teheran tenfold. I believe he has 7 home runs in his career off Teheran already. I could be wrong. Let me pull up the stats. I have it. I thought it was 7. It might be 6. Bryce Harper, 7 home runs off of Julio Teheran. 16 for 36 for a 444 average. 17 RBIs. 506 WOBA and 524 OBP. Absolutely owns Teheran. So definitely Bryce is in my lineups tomorrow. I have him and Springer as the first 2 guys I start my early lineups with. And Julio's been bad versus lefties. So we know that. So that's where I go in this game. Again, I'm not going to play Strasburg for the sheer fact of Atlanta's power. And I like some lower-priced pitchers a little better, which allows me to get the higher-priced bats. Now, Aaron Nola is the 3rd highest-priced pitcher on DraftKings. And this is my favorite pitcher on the slate. I have Aaron Nola locked in. He's been fantastic, pitching lights out. 180 average his last couple starts, 30% strikeout rate. Over the last 3 days, the Padres have struck out 31% of the time. Over the last 7 days, the Padres have struck out 30.7% of the time. And over the last 14 days, so you'll see a trend here, the Padres have struck out 28.8% of the time. Pair that with the fact that Nola has been striking out guys at a just fantastic rate, and the Padres' worst split is away versus righties. Now, the only concern I have here is the Padres have been hitting the ball hard as of late. Their last 7 days, the Padres have a 25% line drive rate. Now, line drives are the most likely of positive outcomes in baseball. Fly balls end up in outs almost 98% of the time. Ground balls have a little better success, but line drives, because they're obviously fast, exit velocities, less reaction time for the defense. So line drives are worrisome when you see that. And the Padres have a 28% hard contact clip, 15.5% home run per fly ball away versus righties, and this is a favorable park to hit home runs in. So Nola also does not come without risk. Austin Hedges hit 2 home runs today. You might see him again tomorrow. We know what Renfroe does. It'll be interesting to see if they put Myers back up in the leadoff spot. But Nola, just for the K upside alone and the opponent, I would rather face the Padres than the Brewers if I'm comparing Severino and Nola. So that is my reasoning there. Nola's cheaper, and of course, I'd rather face the Padres than the Brewers. We have Boston and Tampa, Rick Porcello and Alex Cobb. So Tampa, not exactly the hottest team in the world right now. Um, they're pretty average. They're striking out a good clip again, like they always do. Rick Porcello, his strikeouts are up this year, but so are his home runs. And Tampa kills righties at home. 191 ISO, 338 WOBA, home run per fly ball rate of 16.85%. And here's the kicker: almost a 40% hard contact rate at home versus righties this year. That is a enormous amount of hard contact. So I can see a Tampa stack for sure tomorrow. The only issue I have is that they're not exactly swinging the bat extremely well. Steven Souza's okay. Wilson Ramos is okay. Corey Dickerson is in a massive slump right now. And Logan Morrison, he's okay. He's not exactly as on fire as he was earlier in the year. I have to wonder if missing on the All-Star game kind of put him in a funk, and maybe he's just like, all right, let's get this first half over with. So they're not my favorite place to stack. I do think they will get some ownership because they are cheaper than some other stacks. Namely Wilson Ramos. You're looking at some recency bias there. Obviously just took Sale deep, so people might jump on that. Steven Souza, we know what he's been doing. He's expensive though. FanDuel, he's not, 3,300. So you will see some. I think you'll see some ownership there. And then Malik Smith leading off, 3K on FanDuel is still a cheap price for what he can do. And then attacking Alex Cobb is not something I'm going to do as well. So Boston is not going to be a team I stack tomorrow. There's always going to be one-offs. Always in consideration for me is Mitch Moreland and Andrew Benintendi versus a lefty. Versus a righty. And then another guy that should get some looks tomorrow is Zhu Wei Lin, if I pronounce his name correctly. They're going to keep putting him at 2,300 as a shortstop, and he's that price on both sides. I mean, that's always punt worthy, and he has third base eligibility on DraftKings, so if you need to punt that position, if you'd rather pay up for shortstop, he's not the worst punt you'll find. And then we have Adam Wainwright and Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler has not been going deep into games as of late, so that is a concern for me against a hot St. Louis team. Adam Wainwright at home, though, is an intriguing play. New York has been decently hot over the past couple days. They are... Let me pull up their numbers right here. Curtis Granderson, obviously the hottest Met. Jay Bruce is in there too. So Asdrubal Cabrera, Lucas Duda, Jay Bruce, Wilmer Flores, and Curtis Granderson all have good stats in the last 14 days. Wainwright is very, very good at home, and he's been fantastic over his last couple starts. Great ground ball pitcher, but he's adding in some strikeout upside with him. And the Mets they don't strike out the most, but they have some strikeout batters, namely Jay Bruce, no problem striking out. Lucas Duda, same. Curtis Granderson, same thing. So if Waino has his pitches working, could be in for a nice day. And his price is very favorable as well. 7,600 on DraftKings, I think, is a little too cheap for his upside. 8,200 on FanDuel, I don't think I'd go there. But DraftKings, 7,600, he definitely should be in consideration. So the three guys I'm looking at on the early slate to pitch are Aaron Nola, Mike Fiers, and Adam Wainwright. Brent Suter is a super, super GPP play if you want to look there. The stacks I'm going to run with right now are Houston, number 1, Milwaukee, number 2, and... do I want to go Tampa or I'll probably go Washington. I'll probably go Washington with the lefties. That's where I'd go as my third stack. But pretty much going to be Houston, Milwaukee right now. On to the main, we have 8 games, starting with Detroit and Cleveland. Disclaimer, if you don't already know this, Cleveland absolutely owns Detroit. Lonnie Chisenhall, Jose Ramirez, and Francisco Lindor should be in every lineup tomorrow. These guys have fantastic numbers versus Verlander. He's not been good in his last couple starts. They just put a beat down on him as well. So load up on some Cleveland bats tomorrow. And I love Mike Clevinger. He just pitched well versus Detroit. We mentioned last night that Detroit's worst split is away versus righties. Carrasco went out, had a decent game. Clevinger has a ton of K upside. Detroit strikes out over 25% of the time on the road versus righties. And Clevenger, over 28% strikeout rate on the year, over 34% in his last couple days. He's limiting home runs, a .103 average against him in his last couple starts. Absolutely love that. Detroit can explode at any moment, so there is risk with this play, but the upside is too good to ignore here. I'm full force Clevenger and Cleveland stack tomorrow. Nothing about Detroit entices me, bats or pitching. We have Kansas City, Los Angeles. Can't say I'm going to go back to Kansas City tomorrow. Brandon McCarthy pitching really well, and this Los Angeles bullpen is fantastic. So if they can't get to McCarthy, they're not going to get to Los Angeles. Moose can still be a one-off. The dude is just absolutely on fire. He can hit a home run out of anybody or anywhere in the major leagues. But I don't know if I don't find myself going full stack tomorrow. And then Ian Kennedy hasn't been pitching terrible in his last couple games, and Los Angeles is not exactly on fire right now. They've kind of cooled off the past couple games. They may be coasting into this All-Star break, knowing that they have a comfortable lead. So don't find myself stacking either side here. This looks like a game fade for me off the bat. Pittsburgh and Chicago. Jake Arrieta is very intriguing. Check out this stat over his last couple starts. 6% hard contact. You heard that right. 6%. Under 10%. 6% hard contact in his last couple starts against him. I don't know what flipped, what switch kind of turned on, but he is returned to the pitcher we all expect. Balling. Absolutely balling over his last couple starts. The Pirates do not have good history versus Jake Arrieta. I was looking up their BVP statistics. And typically I really don't value BVP all that much. But against a guy like Arrieta, I want to see if there's, if there's particular ownership here. Josh Bell, 4 for 8, nothing crazy. Andrew McCutchen, 11 for 45, no home runs. The guy that has the most home runs is Gregory Polanco, but he's only 7 for 32. So there's not a lot that worries me here on Pittsburgh with Arrieta tomorrow. And he's 8,400 on DraftKings. He's 97 on FanDuel, so you're paying up a little bit, but 8,400 on DraftKings. Him and Clevenger are a beautiful pairing tomorrow. Right now, though, that's where I'm going. Clevenger and Arrieta. And then Nova is not exactly pitching well. He had an amazing start to the season, but has not been pitching well. The Cubs actually just got to him, if I'm not mistaken, in his 2 starts ago? 1 start? So, that was in Pittsburgh. I like Ian Happ tomorrow. I like Anthony Rizzo. Chris Bryant heating up a little bit. If John Jay leads off, Kyle Schwarber, still not going to play him. He's home run or nothing right now. Not going there. But Jake Arrieta, lock him in as a pitcher. I like what I've been seeing from him. LA, Texas. Jesse Chavez has been pitching really well of late. Fly balls are an issue for him, as always. He's given up almost 50% fly ball rate over the last couple starts. So that is a concern. Texas has an extremely high implied run total of almost 6. I don't think that's a mistake. I like that. Chu Gomez should be back in that 2-hole. He did terrible today. I can go right back to him, though. Nomar Mazara hit a home run today. Go back there. Beltre, Odor. I still like Jurickson Profar if he plays tomorrow. He's still mad cheap on both sides, 2,200 on FanDuel, 33 on DraftKings, and he's shortstop eligible on DraftKings as well, so that is a bargain. Hopefully Robinson Chirinos plays tomorrow. Jesse Chavez is a reverse splits guy, and so Robinson Chirinos, the power righty, if he plays, you guys know I love him. And then Tyson Ross is an intriguing play. He's pitched better over his last couple starts, and he's obviously trying to come back from that traumatic injury, not traumatic, but devastating injury that really knocked him out of San Diego. He's always had a walk problem in his career, but the strikeout upside has always been legit with that slider. LA is not exactly a team that worries me, so a high implied total here. The one thing there I will say about Texas is their bullpen is really, really bad, and so if after Tyson Ross leaves, if he has a good game, there is concern there with the bullpen. But LA is still not a team that I think worries me. So Ross should get a look tomorrow, at the very least. We have Jose Quintana and Jeff Hoffman in Coors. Jeff Hoffman is not very good in Coors. That's understandable, obviously, in a very much hitter-friendly park. And Colorado absolutely owns left-handed hitting. But here's the thing. Quintana has been pitching fantastic as of late, and he is pitching to get traded. He is on many teams' trade lists, namely the Brewers and Astros, looking to acquire his services. And so, he would love to get out of Chicago, go to a team with a chance to win something. And so I don't know that Colorado's my favorite spot to stack tomorrow. I know they absolutely murder lefties at home. You're looking at a 290 average, 217 ISO, 358 WOBA. I mean, they're unforgiving versus lefties at home. But Jose Quintana has something to pitch for. And he's been pitching well of late too, limiting hard contact, striking guys out, limiting fly balls. So he may not have his best start of the year. But I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out and has a good game. So Colorado's not a place I'm looking to stack right now. I think you'll see recency bias with what they just did to Derek Holland today versus another lefty. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see them get ownership. But anyone knows that Quintana is not Derek Holland. So not my cup of tea to stack there. Jeff Hoffman, I would actually rather stack against Hoffman than I would Quintana tomorrow. I look at Abreu, I look at Avisale if he plays, I look at Todd Frazier. Matt Davidson should be back in the lineup. I like that spot. So I prefer Chicago over Colorado tomorrow, personally. Miami, San Francisco, Shark has been pitching fantastic as of late as well. He is a better away pitcher than home pitcher, surprisingly. Couldn't tell you why. But the Marlins are extremely hot. But Shark is far and away the Giants' best pitcher this year. It's not even close. In fact, he's the only pitcher on this staff that's respectable right now. So I don't think I stack Marlins. He does get the benefit of AT&T. And then Jeff Locke. Man, he is 4,800 and 5,500 on FanDuel. 48 on DraftKings. There's not much to like about the Giants. At home versus lefties, their ISO is 100. Their WOBA is 0.268. And they hit a home run per fly ball under 6% of the time. So, does Locke go out and do well tomorrow? Maybe from a real-life standpoint. I don't see him getting a ton of strikeouts. Giants don't strike out a ton as is. He's not a strikeout pitcher. So is he a DFS play? Probably not. But is he the best guy to stack against? I don't think so either. So I don't find myself on any San Francisco bats. Buster Posey would be a one-off for me. Austin Slater was just announced he's going to go to the DL. So fortunate for him. Hunter Pence, I could see Posey and Pence as a two-man against Locke. But there's no way I team stack SF tomorrow. Cincy, Arizona, Luis Castillo makes another start. Dude has elite K upside, but also elite home run problem. And we know Arizona loves hitting at home. I caution against going a four-man or five-man stack of Arizona because Luis will probably give up a couple home runs, but I don't think he gets slaughtered in a sense. He'll give up some home runs, maybe a couple 2-run, 3-run shots, but I don't think the entire team eats off of him. And so I think you got to try and find those guys. Jake Lamb is a guy I'm looking at. Chris Owings continues to be underpriced on FanDuel at $2,900. Brandon Drury, same thing, $2,500. They're fair priced on DraftKings. If Chris Herman plays tomorrow, $2,300 for him. He comes in, plays versus righties. Obviously, AJ Pollock back. David Peralta underpriced on FanDuel at $3,100. So this whole Arizona team is really underpriced for their upside. And so I think you can find a cheap home run or two or three versus Castillo. And the Cincinnati bullpen is not good either. So even when he's gone, there's not much to worry about coming in from Cincinnati besides Raciel Iglesias. And then Taijuan Walker. Cincinnati hits righties well. on the road. Tyrone Walker has had a home run problem in his career, but he's actually done a great job of limiting that. It is still Arizona, so there's caution there. I don't think he makes my list to play, but I don't think I stack 4 deep here either. I look at Votto as a one-off, and Schebler would be the two guys I would look to play against Walker, but I don't think I stack Cincinnati 4 deep either. And then finally we have Oakland and Seattle. Chris Smith will make a start for Oakland, and Andrew Moore makes his 3rd big league start. Mentioned him a couple times. Obviously the number 4 prospect for Seattle overall. Number 2 pitching prospect. So guy's got some pedigree to him. He's not going to overpower you. Not a big strikeout guy. But Oakland does strike out quite a bit. So possibly an upgrade there in matchup. He limits hard contact. He's done that well. He's never been a big home run guy. So, a team that's home run or nothing, if he can limit the home runs and get some strikeouts, I think he could be in line for a decent start as well. Don't find myself pitching against Oakland here, but I don't find myself stacking them either. And then Chris Smith, you guys know my thing. I never stack against guys that are team seeing for the first time. That's this case right here. So won't be stacking Seattle tomorrow with Chris Smith. I probably end up game fading this. So to recap where I'm at on the main, the pitchers I'm looking at, Mike Clevenger, Jake Arrieta, those 2 are locks for me. I look at Tyson Ross as a potential play, and I look at Andrew Moore as a possible play. And if you want a GPP play, Quintana will not have ownership tomorrow, probably for good reason. But if he goes out and does the impossible and shuts down Coors as a lefty, could be rewarding. Derek says the Mariners will own him. Best of luck, sir. Won't be stacking the Mariners. Not a lot of upside to this team right now. So, teams I'm looking to attack, of course. Gonna attack Justin Verlander. That's my number 1 stack. I'm going to attack Jesse Chavez with Texas. I'm going to stay there. I'd prefer to attack Jeff Hoffman in that Coors game. And then I still will find some bats against Luis Castillo in Arizona. So that is where I'm at, guys. Hopefully a rebound tomorrow. Hopefully a rebound tomorrow morning. I feel confident in where I'm at right now. The statistics I'm looking at, the stacks I'm on early. So hopefully the lineups stay as I hope, and they make these stacks possible. Pitchers obviously shouldn't change. So that's where I'm going. Hopefully it's a profitable day as always. Mike will be back tomorrow night. I'll be back doing the lock show for the 8-game main at about 2 o'clock as always. So if you guys would like to get in that, just click that link down below. Join the Phenom. We'll take care of you, get you access to all the sheets, all the information, and set you guys up for some success. So have a wonderful night and or morning whenever you are listening to this, and make it a profitable Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend, and best of luck.